Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. We are pleased to be joined by the Executive Vice President and General Manager of Hendrick Motorsports, Jeff Andrews. How's it going?
Good morning, Casey. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for doing this.
Certainly.
So you've had quite the job change this year, of course. Chad Knaus moving into your old role as competition director at Hendrick Motorsports. What is your role and what is the responsibilities that you're responsible for, Jeff?
Yeah, I think, Casey, in general, if you could just look at motorsports and say really all things racing that have to do specifically with racing around motorsports are kind of groups that I work with, so to speak. So, in the recent years on the the competition side or the role that Chad has now, I think probably the biggest difference this year is certainly getting more involved in the business side of it and working closely with Mr. Hendrick and Jeff Gordon and Marshall Carlson on the business aspect and things of contract nature and different things like that with a lot of our suppliers and key partners and things like that. So, as well as involved in a lot of things and in meetings with the media and marketing groups and things like that. So just a broader overall view of the company and racing in general.
I know you were closely with Chad in your old role as competition director. What's been the transition like with that and having Chad in that?
Well, I think it's been great. I mean, I think Chad's natural for that role. His record at the racetrack speaks for itself, and tremendous amount of respect for each other. Chad and I have worked here together almost 30 years, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. He's doing a great job and going to continue to do a great job for this company in that role. Very well respected within our company. Somebody that I can go to, and our offices are literally right next door to each other here. We could cut a hole in the wall here and talk to each other. So just be able to walk around the corner and talk to him and vice versa. Great communication there. Intense competitor. I love his mentality. A lot of people here feed off that. I feed off those kind of people. Those kind of people make me better, as Mr. Hendrick is the top of our organization. He's going to do great. He is doing great, and will continue to do a great job in that role.
You've had quite the career in motorsports. Of course, you were with Team Penske with Rick Mears when he won the 1991 Indy 500. Take me back to that time.
Yeah. So, I left California's in late 1987, and being where I was from in the Central Valley of California there, a lot of strong IndyCar heritage there, and particularly in the Fresno, California area with the Vukovich name and others. Some early role models for me, people like Fred Gerhardt, who were really close friends of my family, who was an instrumental chassis supplier to many IndyCar teams for many years. So I kind of had that heritage and grew up as kind of IndyCar racing being something I wanted to do someday, and took a chance to do that in 1987 by chance. Had a chance meeting at Laguna Seca with a good friend of mine, Billy Vukovich III, introduced me to a guy by the name of Dennis Swan at Doug Shearson Racing, and Dennis hired me. Gave me a shot, and so I was there for 2 years, and then the engine program closed down at that place, and I got the opportunity to go to work for Penske Racing in late 1989, and really loved that. I mean, if I was from that area of the country and had family there, it would have probably been pretty difficult to leave Penske Racing and the organization that was. So I really had 3 years in my life there was really special. I'll never forget those times, and certainly learned a lot about Mr. Penske's way and just the way race teams are run, and a lot of respect and admiration still today for him and his organizations, for sure.
So when you first, so talk about when you first wanted to come to NASCAR and Hendrick Motorsports. What was that like meeting Mr. Hendrick for the first time?
Yeah, it was a great experience. While working in the IndyCar industry, I met one of my dear lifelong friends. His name was Rick Wetzel, and he was at Shearson when I started there, and he left after about 6 months of knowing him. And we just formed a bond. We had a great friendship, and long story short, he ended up coming down to Hendrick in 1989 or 88 and went to work for Randy Dorton. Um, Stayed in touch with me and told me this is where I needed to work. I needed to be a part of Randy Dorton's engine program, and that took about 3 years, I guess, to make that happen. But first time I met Mr. Hendrick was Randy introduced him to me. I was visiting, actually talking and interviewing with Randy in Dover, and he introduced me to Mr. Hendrick at that point in time. So obviously, yeah, I mean, you meet Mr. Hendrick and you very quickly realize and understand, the leader he is and the people that he has working for him and who, what he's built, not only on the racing side, but the automotive side as well. Tremendous man, tremendous motivator.
You've touched on another name that actually got into my next question. Of course, Randy Dorton, of course, who was part of the one of the worst days in Hendrick Motorsports history. Of course, the plane crash in 2004 after the Martinsville race that year. I know you were very close with Randy. What was that like? You know, to become friends with him. How close were you guys, and how difficult was that for the company and the race team to go through that?
Sure. Yeah. I think at the end of everyone's time in this business, you'll look back and you'll have positive influences and role models, that people who have steered and kind of guided your career. And Randy will be right there at the top of that list, no doubt. Took me in, took a chance on me, gave me all kinds of opportunities within this company, gave me a lot of rope that I loved, and then just kept wanting more. Um, and unfortunately, as with everyone on that plane, we lost all of that group way too early. But I took away some amazing things from Randy and management traits and styles and just the way he dealt with people, the way he understood people, the importance that he put on people, and he got that all from Mr. Hendrick, who has the same obviously traits and values as well. But for our company, that I don't. There's no way for anybody to even fathom or think about days like that. And I know everybody that was here during that time. Nobody lost as much as Mr. Hendrick on that fateful day, right? And I think the motivation there for the company, to watch him walk back into this company, just some days after that accident, and talk to us and tell him he wanted to continue on. That was some pretty powerful times within our company, and certainly formed a bond in our company. And then to go on and take everything that all those people that had taught us and mentored us about, and then to go on and have success with that, is for me personally the ultimate honor, to be able to show Randy and tell Randy and that whole group, thank you, like thank you for what you did for us, and here's the success after that. Will always be probably one of the most gratifying things that I ever could have done for him, to tell him thank you.
You've had a lot of drivers that have come and gone throughout the company. Of course, Jeff Gordon, Terry Labonte, you had Darrell Waltrip in the beginning. Of course, Jimmy Johnson just left. Kind of going back to what Jeff Gordon has done for the race team, what has he meant to Hendrick Motorsports, do you think?
Well, Jeff is certainly, in my eyes, a pillar of this company. When you look back at his career, and I think, particularly to look back at really just the dynasty and the heritage of winning, that I give him credit, and that race team credit for starting in this company with the championships that started in '95, and the wins and everything that went with that. And certainly that, Terry, we had our year there in 96, but, Jeff carries on there with multiple championships. And then, here comes Jimmy after that. And I think Jeff in particular, everything to me, everything he's done behind the wheel in a race car in those years established the heritage that Mr. Hendrick expected of this company, the winning, the championships, the domination. That's what we work for every day. Certainly in recent years in his transformation into a role of ownership role within this company, I have personally tremendously enjoyed working with Jeff and his insight into the business side of things and the competition side of things, and consider him one of my closest confidants here, and talk to him regularly about things that are going on here and his thoughts. And so I've grown to appreciate that probably more than his driving career here, just because I'm more personally involved in that with him now. So
Yeah. And when you talk about, like, recently with Jimmy, what has it been like to, to watch his career now? Now he's kind of doing some other things. I know that, Chad's helping him out on the IMSA side whenever he goes endurance racing, and then he's going to go IndyCar racing. What's it like to watch Jimmy, do all these things after wraps up a great NASCAR career?
Yeah, well, I think, to watch him go on and explore other avenues of racing and challenge himself is really the epitome of Jimmy. I mean, that is constantly what he did here. He always pushed. He was always a leader for us in whatever aspect that he could bring to the race team, whether it be his physical conditioning or his mentality, or he's really the one that implemented for us kind of our driver and crew chief debriefs after practice. He said, "Hey guys, we need to get together as a group after practice and talk." And that was really his idea, and something that we still do today. And I think just to watch him go on to his next steps of his career and try different racing venues. I mean, I am really happy for him that he has the opportunity in his life to do that. I'm super excited, to watch his first IndyCar race. I've, watched his IMSA races, and just a huge Jimmy Johnson fan, as most all people at Hendrick Motorsports are, for sure.
When you look at, of course, you winning the last championship with Chase, what was that like to know that, as you kind of, as a new era of drivers, as many would say at Hendrick, what was that like watching someone like Chase to win the championship?
I think, first for, the employees of this company who are really the ones that made that happen, just a tremendous feeling of gratitude and appreciation for them and their hard work. We were not what we would consider not a very good spot mid last summer from a performance perspective, and really it was the people of this company who just dug deeper and just got to a completely different level. And that culminated and peaked in October and November of last year. And for Chase, personally, and Alan and that team, and very deserving of Alan. Obviously been there many times and had many opportunities, and see him finally get that under his belt. For Chase, I mean, he's grown up in it. To see that family heritage, kind of be carried on there. Just we're super proud of him and the job he's done for us here, and he's a great teammate. Fitting right into that role of kind of where Jimmy left off there, and kind of start to see Chase kind of transition into kind of that leading driver in our company. It's great to see.
When you look at, and finally, when you look at the the current lineup and how you guys are doing so far this year with William and Rudy Fugle have gotten a win. Of course, Kyle and Cliff Daniels got a win this year. Alex has been having some good runs, and Chase is having good runs as well. What's it been like to to watch how your guys are doing so far with this season?
Yeah, it's been great. First and foremost, you always want to come out of the gate with the performance like that. You work on these cars all winter long. People put a ton of effort into getting these cars done and getting to the racetrack. And so, to see the results here early on, we couldn't be more pleased. We feel like we've been in contention every week to win a race, which is really what you asked for. I mean, we leave here and load 4 race cars up late week every week, and knowing that we've done our best job and hoping that shows up on track. But yeah, as you said, we've got some new combinations there with William and Rudy. Couldn't be more happy with those guys. Rudy is just a great guy. He has really fit well into our company. Our racer, he's underneath race cars. He's rolling tires in. He's a racer. He's got that mentality that we love around here. Very hands-on crew chief, and he and William have this bond, obviously. Having bringing Kyle in here and putting that combination of Kyle and Cliff together, I think we felt like that would work. We knew what Cliff's capabilities were from the past, and to insert Kyle into that program. I'm not sure we expected it to pay dividends as quick as it has, but we're not going to argue with that. That is a super team that has not reached their peak yet, for sure. And Greg and Alex, they're doing a great job as well, and they continue to work and gel together, and certainly had some good signs last week. And we talked about Chase and Alan. They'll continue on here. They struggled a little bit here to start, and some of that is our doing on the mechanical side. We've got to get those kind of things cleaned up. And
yeah. So I just thought of something else. Obviously in terms of engines, you and RC and basically all of Chevrolet, you and RCR kind of merged your engine programs together. How big was that? And do you think that was a contributing factor to the success that you had late on in the year?
I think it was a factor for sure. Anytime in any area, as I said, midsummer last year, we weren't in a good spot, and we made gains on the powertrain side, and we made gains on the vehicle side. We made gains on the aero side, and it's so close these days. I mean, there are so many great race teams and great organizations out there that, boy, it just takes a little bit from each aspect of this company to move the needle. But specific to that relationship with the 2 engine programs, we had been talking about that for a couple of years, and just in concept, and I think in general. We have to think about the fact that both of these companies' engine programs are really receiving the same parts and pieces from Chevrolet. And we're both spending a lot of money on developing the same parts and pieces, and we're an hour apart from each other. And that just in the future, as we start to talk about this, that just doesn't make sense to keep doing that. So we got together, we started talking about how to do it. Certainly there had been a little bit of precedence there set on the aerodynamic side with all the Chevy key partner race teams getting together and kind of having a clean sheet and open books, so to speak, and sharing cars and sharing scans and having a common aerodynamics group working together. So we kind of had set the groundwork for that a little bit and kind of had a direction to go there and get some things started. But at the end of the day, it can, Richie Gilmore and myself can have an idea and take it to Mr. Hendrick and Mr. Childress. And at the end of the day, it really takes the people in those 2 programs to make it work. And really proud of the people, the leadership roles in both engine programs who've gotten together and really just had an open book and tried to figure out how to be better together. And it paid dividends late last year. It continues to pay dividends today, and it's only going to get better. We've just really kind of scratched the surface on where we could go with that.
All right. Well, Jeff Andrews, thank you for taking some time to talk with us. Good luck this weekend at the Bristol Dirt Race.
Great. Thanks, Casey. I appreciate that very much. Thanks for having me.